Come on, bro. Who is that, huh? Who is that? Yeah, this is a good story. I'll tell this one.
Hey, this is Lailani. We're here at John Calflooking's house, and we are so thankful for him to be one of the first to reach out to us to tell a couple of his stories.
I am John Calflooking. I got my gun squatching hat here on. I'm kind of a Bigfoot guru. My wife thinks I'm crazy because she thinks, Bigfoot doesn't exist. However, in her culture in Alaska, they call it the kushtaka, kind of a water animal, but it's kind of a monster too, or mythical monster, I should say. But I just want to tell you about an experience I had. Well, actually, this wasn't me, but this happened to some of my brother-in-laws here years ago. It was winter time. It was after Thanksgiving, but it was before Christmas. We were all up at their sister Wishy's house, and Wishy was cooking this big pot of stew, big pile of fire bread, and these guys are really a big family, and they all get together, and they laugh and they tease one another, and they're just a really good family to hang out with, and we were all sitting around the table, all the guys and all the brothers and my brother-in-laws, I called them. And we were waiting for Wishy's stew to get done. Well, it was 4 o'clock. It's winter, it starts to get dark about 5:30. And one of the brothers, Cookie, he says, "Hey, everybody, let's go up to the mountains and let's get some Christmas trees," because none of us had Christmas trees yet. So there's, Cookie and Happy and Duffy and that old Bernard. He was Wishy's husband at the time. Well, they were going up in a single cab Chevy pickup, big high lifted one. It was Cookie's truck. And they're like, "Hey, Belushi, you want to come?" And I'm like, "Oh man, that stew smells so good, and that fry bread." And I said, it's already after 4. I said, as soon as you guys get up to the mountains, it's gonna be dark. I said, "You know what? I'll pass." I said, you guys go ahead." And there was no room in there because there were a bunch of big guys anyway, right? We'd all been in there like sardines. So they left, and it got dark. Wishy stew got done, and I had a big old bowl of stew and this mouth-watering fry bread with melted butter on it. And it wasn't too long after I ate that they all come back. And these guys are a bunch of funny guys to hang out with. Like I said, been hunting with them several times. And all you do is get teased, you laugh, you get mad because you're getting picked on, blah, blah, blah. And, it's just, and then they come back and we all eat and stuff. So, well, anyway, they came back. It was dark. And these guys were quiet. And they sat down, and their sister started serving them soup or stew and fry bread. And they were just quiet. And that's not like these guys. And I knew something was up. So I asked Happy, I said, "Well, what's the matter?" Then I said, "Did you guys see a ghost or something, And then one of them said, "We seen a monster." And I start laughing, and I'm like, "What, Godzilla? Mothra, something?" Like, I was thinking monster. And Cookie says, "No." He said, we think we seen a Bigfoot." And I'm like, "Oh, whatever, What? Where were you guys at? Tell me where you guys." Right up on top of Divide on Highway 89, there's a turnoff that takes you down into the Fox Creek drainage. And they pulled off there, and, Cookie's big height, and it was really snowing up there, they said. And as soon as they pulled off the paved highway, they got stuck. So they got out and they locked the hubs in. And they said, "Oh, it's dark. We're not going to get into the timber and find good trees." They're like, "Let's go back and eat some of Sister's stew." Like John was smart enough to stay back. So they all got in the truck, and when they backed around, Cookie swung the front end like this because the highway was here, so they had to turn around to get back on the highway. And when they did this, they were in a huge meadow, and that meadow slopes like this, and there's timber right at the bottom. And they said this big thing was standing there, and they said it was slumped over, and it had long arms. The arms were past its knees, and they said it was big, it was 8-9 feet tall. And it had great big green eyes. They said in the headlights, his eyes just shined green. And they were all like, "Oh, what is that? What is that? Look at that!" And they were all looking at it. All 4 of them seen it. And Cookie said it took at least 4 steps at the most, 4 or 5 steps, and it was down that hill and in that timber. He said it just leaped. It didn't walk or run. He said it leaped, and it ran on 2 legs. And I was just like, whoa, you know. And the way they told me it, I could tell they were serious about it. And it really shook them and scared them. So, yeah, to this day, I said, I should have bailed in with them. I could have actually seen one back then. But I stayed for stew and fry bread. Yeah. So that's the story. Sticking to it.
That's a good one.